The ticket. The presidential race has reset, but how much has it reset in terms of the gender gap among voters? That is what our Harry Anton has been looking at for you this morning, and he's here with us now. So set the scene. How are men and women responding to Harris? What's the big reason why Harris is gaining in the polls?
Yeah, all right. It's the gender gap. It's something we've spoken about in politics for a long period of time, and we're really seeing it here. All right, let's take a look at the national polls first. This is Democrat versus Trump margin, and I want to point out this is average across the same pollsters. Look at Biden versus Trump, women and men. What we see is the gender gap is working in Donald Trump's advantage. He holds a 9-point advantage among men against Joe Biden, and Joe Biden only held a full 4-point advantage among women. But take a look now. Look at how the race has changed. Instead of having a 4-point advantage among women as Biden did, look at Harris's advantage. It leaps up to 11 points. In fact, men haven't changed their voting patterns at all, at least in the national polls. A 9-point advantage for Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, a 9-point advantage against Kamala Harris. What has occurred is women voters are flocking to the Democratic ticket. Look at that. Look at that. 4 points versus 11 points. That is the reason that Kamala Harris has turned this race around.
You said this is nationally, right?
This is national.
So what about in swing states?
What's going on in the swing states? So let's take a look at those Great Lake battleground states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. This is among registered voters. What do we see here? It's a very similar picture. Biden versus Trump, women. Biden has a larger advantage in those Great Lake battleground states, according to those New York Times Siena College polls, at 10 points. But again, that surge among women, we're seeing the same thing in those battleground states as we saw nationally. Kamala Harris up 17 points among women. Men, very little change. Donald Trump doing a little bit worse, but still a very clear advantage. But the same story in the swing states as we see nationally. The gender gap was working for Donald Trump against Joe Biden, and now it's working against him against Kamala Harris.
Is this the same, smaller, or bigger than? Can you put it in context? I mean, is it the same that we normally see?
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look. Let's go through time, particularly here. All right. This is the Democrat versus the Republican for president. Again, these are these key Great Lake battleground states: Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. 2020 and 2016 are final. These are the exit polls. Yeah. 2024 is now. Look at the women margin. Look at what's going on here. Look how much better Kamala Harris is doing among women voters. It was 11 points Hillary Clinton back in 2016, 13 points in 2020. Look at this margin now, 17 points. Interestingly, the gender gap becoming wider over time. It's much wider this year than what we're normally expecting, because in fact, Donald Trump is winning men voters by 15 points. That's better than he did in 2020 in these same states, and it's even better than he did in 2016, although just slightly better. But the bottom line here is Kamala Harris is winning this race right now, at least in these key battleground states, because of what she's doing with women voters. Women voters are energized, and it is the reason that Kamala Harris turned a deficit that Joe Biden had into a lead.
And also, just really quick, when we talk about we do not know, because there's a lot that goes into it, that this is because she's a woman. It's just their support for her.
Correct.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't necessarily know the reason. We just know she's doing better with women voters, significantly better than Joe Biden was, and better than either Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton did back in 2016.
Fascinating. Great stuff, Harry. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sarah?